everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thank you so much for coming along, hanging out with us, sharing a beer, having some conversations. I am Tim Dennis. Mo Mike Nate is on assignment, and actually on assignment this time. Sometimes we say that if we're sick or dead or something like that, but he's actually on an assignment there. And Brian Hewitt, how are you doing?
Not bad. I think he's actually out of state, but
I think he
I'm
is.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
On an assignment. Yes.
He really is on an assignment too.
Yeah,
it's kind of great. Not necessarily one of our assignments, but an assignment.
An assignment. Yeah. It applies here. Brian, how was your week, man? How's things going for you?
It's been pretty good. It's we're cruising into the holidays, so things are winding down a little bit. The day jobs have been a little less crazy, just a little bit. It's
That's
still
good.
A good amount of crazy still, but just a little bit. Something I was thinking about, I should mention, I had Brooklyn Black Ops. They do them in cans over the weekend. This might have been one of the more interesting things I did over the weekend. This is a really good beer. I remember from back in the early days, like it blew my mind how good it was. I had it again over the weekend, and I was thinking about more recent ones I've had, and I've always thought they were a little on the thin side. This was a boozy monster. I really enjoyed this. And aged in Four Roses barrels and all that sort of thing. So that's something I've been thinking about. I'm like, I need to get more of these cans. It's quite nice, Tim, quite nice indeed. But
it's been quite a while since I've had that one, I think. So I have to keep an eye out for it. At least try it.
They still put it in the tall boy. So, it's not in the 750 anymore, which I kind of miss, but this is a little bit more approachable, but that's still, it's a 12.5%, 12.4%. That's still a lot of stout to put down by yourself. I did.
I was going to say, I'm sure, but you did, right?
Oh, yeah, I totally did. I didn't even think twice about it. It's like, well, today is the day I get into that. And, maybe I had something before that. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? But that's the thing that came to mind as we were starting up the show. I'm like, I need to say that's a great beer. And it makes the round. I don't think it gets quite the love it once did, but still fantastic. So boozy this year. So great. Yeah. Anyway.
There's so many that I think are kind of missing the love that they used to get. They're still stellar beers. Even with the way things are going, they're just not the current hotness. North Coast has a couple, like Old Rasputin. That's still an absolutely stellar beer. It's just there's other ones now that are cooler, the more trendy stuff there. But it used to be ones, and, we've talked about it before. It was also at one time one of the few beers of that caliber we could get here in Georgia.
That's true.
So, finding stuff like that. But we were chatting with the guys on our Discord, our Patreon supporters on the Discord recently, and it went out and like Kentucky Breakfast Stout, CBS, they're just shelves full of them now. And, at one time, CBS keeps coming back from the dead. They've canceled that one several times, and now you can just basically walk into a store and pick up a 4-pack if you want to.
Yeah, didn't Kosmicki basically say on the show years ago, I'm never brewing that beer again? Like, I
believe so. Yeah,
and
that was quite a while ago.
It's possible that he wasn't actually the one that brewed it, and somebody else in the company brewed it, but it sure happened again. It got released again. So craziness. But CBS. I was going to say CBS and what's the Goose Island one? Bourbon County. Those are the ones, like having those, the thickness of those made me start thinking about the thinness of this. But this year, the booziness of this made up for what I had perceived in the past as thinness. But go ahead, Tim. You had some.
Is it still thinner?
Oh, for sure. Than Breakfast Stout or Bourbon County, it is not as thick. It is definitely not as thick, but it's very, like I said, very boozy. It's got more body to it. It handles that easier drink. It's easier drinking for a 12%.
Easy drinking 12.5%.
Yeah.
All right.
As long as you like booze. I cut you off. What were you saying?
I actually don't remember now. I was trying to think, but I was just rambling on about stouts and all of that stuff. But anyhow, Brian, it is a good time of year for beer, though. That is one thing I'll say. We did our holiday beer show that went out last weekend, and just so many great beers. I love the boozy, big ABVs and that. Santa Claus, 14? I think it's right at 14%,
right at 14. Yeah.
So just we're lucky that did we get that one in Georgia, or is that one someone picked up on an out of state trip?
No,
because every now and then one it does hit the shelves here, even though it's technically.
We get it here. There are places around that have a few bottles on the shelf. There's Santa Claus, and there's another one that's I think it's a barley wine that shows up occasionally too, but it's not. It doesn't seem like it happens every year. I know that they brew it every year. I forget when they actually brew it. Do they brew it on Christmas, or they brew it a particular day of the year?
I know when I drink it. That's important.
But it's usually out. But yeah, we get it. It just slides in under our ABV cap apparently. So
good for me, man. Good enough for me. Well, Brian, let's talk about your beers of the week here. So what are you sipping on this week?
I realized when I was picking my beers of the week that I had a miscalculation. I didn't have any of the holiday beers ready to go. I think I might have a smattering of them, but I did have a cold celebration. So I started off pre-gamed with a Sierra Nevada celebration. So we are running right up into Christmas time. So it's important to have at least something. Right now, I am drinking a Raw Brewing Just Squeezed. It's a New England double IPA brewed with oats and wheat, hopped with Citra, Idaho 7, Lotus, Crush, and Waimea hops. So in the description, they say it's like vanilla caviar infused Fanta. What is vanilla caviar?
I think vanilla caviar is what they call, like when you use a vanilla bean, a lot of times the best way to use it is to split the bean lengthwise and scrape the insides out. That's where the magic happens. And I think that's what they call vanilla caviar there. Like if you get good vanilla ice cream and you see those specks that look like pepper, put some pepper in there, there's your vanilla caviar. I think.
Because the seeds would be in there, so that would effectively be the caviar-ish type of thing. I got to tell you, it's really, really good. It's very orangey. They say it's a dream child of Orange Julius and a Dreamsicle, and it's very good. So yeah, Raw Brewing. I saw this one place, and I'm gonna have to go get some more of it. I really like this, and they accomplished all of this greatness without lactose, which I really enjoy. So my next thing, the post show beer. When we're hanging out with the Patreon folks, will be an Equilibrium and Tripping Animals collaboration called Space Caster, which is another New England double IPA with flavors of citrus punch, Sauvignon Blanc, grape, pineapple, tropical fruit salad, zesty lime, orange, gummies, and a grassy backbone. So I'm looking forward to that. They didn't tell me the description didn't say anything about what the hops went into it. So yeah, that'll be fun. Good collaboration. So I'm looking forward to that. But man, this Just Squeezed is great. Really good.
There's some interesting notes in that Space Castor there. So with grassy, gummies, fruit salad, grape, Sauvignon Blanc. Is it Sauvignon Blanc / grape, or is it Sauvignon Blanc grape?
I think the write-up, I'm looking at, I copied it from their Untapped posting. Yeah. There's a comma there. So it's a Sauvignon Blanc.
It is. Okay.
So I guess the wine, and then also just grape. Or maybe it was a typo. I don't know.
And I think, Brian, you may know this more than I do, but Sauvignon Blanc, like wines are typically named after the grapes that they're made with, right?
Yeah.
So that would typically be because I would consider grape, quotes, like there's a flavor. If you just say grape, people know what you're talking about, even though there's a lot of other grapes there. Like in the movies when they go in and they just say, "Give me a beer."
Yeah.
What could that be, man? There's such a variety there.
It would be great if they had included purple in there as one of the flavors.
Purple grape. Purple, yes.
Just purple.
I want some of that purple drink.
Notes of purple. Yeah.
I do get that in this one, yeah. I'm gonna go out to eat, and when they ask me what I want, I'm like, yes, could I get grape, please? Great. Just say that. Just
I prefer grape.
See how they react there. See what I get out of that.
Fermented or non?
Yes, non, please. Please skin it, please. There. Brian, interesting news. Sometimes we can't keep up with all the changes here. We reported on our show before our Christmas beer show that Anchor Brewing was leaving San Francisco, but a story came out and said that other article has no idea what they're talking about. They misinterpreted the quote. It's not leaving San Francisco.
Did we report it? I thought we didn't get to that, but
I thought we did. If we didn't, then we'll just say this. There was some news that suggested Anchor Brewing was leaving San Francisco. I feel like we did, Brian, but just in case, that said they were going to contract brew outside of San Francisco, but it would no longer be brewed in San Francisco. The brewery would not reopen there. But another article came out actually not too long after that said that's not the case.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing about this, whether or not we did or didn't. It was pretty interesting. So American Craft Beer is the one that reported this, like you said, that Anchor Brews, they weren't reopening the location. They were going to what's the word, like the dang it, I lost the word. Anyway, brew? Contract. There we go. Contract brew it outside of the city, which is crazy because that's exactly the opposite of the whole like, you know, emotional post that Hamdi Ulukaya made back when he bought the brewery. How is all about, like, you know, the cultural significance of it. But yeah. So what happened is American Craft Beer was using ChatGPT, and ChatGPT hallucinated. So they were reporting on it like the San Francisco Standard had said it happened. The problem is the San Francisco Standard didn't say that. It didn't say it at all. ChatGPT just kind of added that information. Decided like, oh, this sounds like something that would have been said in this article, and it just added it there. And they saw that, so the AI digested the article for them, and they just reported on what the AI said. And San Francisco Standard was irritated about that, and they posted an article debunking that and saying that they called him like this niche blog or something like that, a little condescending. And they said that, that was reported. We didn't say that. They actually went and they made contact with the people that are in the process of like just doing the work on this, Hamdi Ulukaya's camp. And they were able to confirm that the reopening plans are in progress, but there's no official timeline as to when the brewery will open. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of dated stuff there. I think there's going to be a lot of repairs and, you know, retrofitting things and, I don't know, fixing things up, that sort of thing. So anyway, it turns out there's no actual news here. And the fact that there's no actual news is good news.
Is the news right now. So did American Craft Beer come out and admit that they'd use ChatGPT to assist with the article?
They did. If you go out to the original article, which unfortunately didn't link in our notes, but if you go out to the original article, there is a note at the top, and they said, hey, you know, mea culpa, we really screwed up. We were using ChatGPT to summarize the article, and we got it wrong. It got it wrong, and we, you know, rolled with it. So, yeah.
I have lost a lot of respect for the American Craft Beer blog because of it. And it's not the fact that they were using it, but not only did they use ChatGPT, but they didn't verify their information. As someone, I'm a recruiter. I think I mentioned that before. My day job is a recruiter. I use ChatGPT to help me with resume formatting, intro emails, you know, all kinds of stuff. If you use AI like ChatGPT, you absolutely positively have to verify everything it does because it hallucinates a lot. Not just occasionally, a lot. You're highly likely to get misinformation, especially if you ask it to summarize something like that. And someone who has been that blog's been around for a while. You know, we've read their articles before. We've looked at their stuff, and generally, I consider them to be a fairly reliable source. But if you're using ChatGPT and you're not validating the information before you publish it, especially on some news as big as that, that's poor quality, quote unquote, journalism.
I will tell you, I hit them fairly often. They frequently come up in links. I've got a news feed that's got a bunch of posts from things. Their volume has gone up a lot recently, and their articles have gotten a lot longer. And so I could probably tell you almost exactly the day when they started using AI to generate this stuff, because I'd almost guarantee you that they're doing that. They posted pretty regularly, but they would repost stuff that was older, and now it's newer stuff, but I think it's been generated through AI, most of it. So I no longer 100% trust them on what they report. So I've always been kind of like,
unfortunate.
If they link to an article about something and I see it and I'm like, I don't want to throw shade on them. I imagine they're trying to do what they can to keep the content coming out, because it's hard to keep eyeballs. But if they link to an article, I'm going to go to that link in the article and go check it out for myself just to make sure. And I've been doing that for a while, honestly, because Well, yeah, that's kind of been a thing with them. So,
that's unfortunate. But glad we got it straight, figured it out. I've wondered sometimes if there's sometimes the news correcting news doesn't get as much news as the original news.
Oh, correct.
So, we keep an eye. We've got web crawlers that look for articles for us and stuff to try and keep us abreast of stuff as much as possible. But it's tough if something gets misreported to catch up with it.
Yeah. But the good news at the end of all this is Anchor Brewing is coming back. It's just someday. We just don't know when. It is coming back.
Good.
So yeah,
I was mad at Mr. Chobani when I thought he had lied to us. And so
for a hot minute, I was like, "You've betrayed everything. Yes. I can't believe it. I will never eat yogurt again.
Right. I can't believe
I wasn't probably going to anyway, but still, now with anger."
Right.
With anger.
With malice. Malice. Brian, moving along, another story. This one was a shocker, and this is the timing for this in relation to our Christmas beer show was unfortunate because this brewery had a beer that made our top 3. Everybody, we really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Our show released after this news broke, but we had recorded our show before this news broke.
Correct.
And I guess one of the owners being a terrible human being doesn't change the fact that the beer was really good, but especially the internet likes to say if you're supporting a beer, you're supporting that brewery and that. So we'll just throw that caveat in there that this came out after we'd recorded our show and drank the beer. But to get to the point of what I'm saying, one of the owners and co-founder of Sycamore Brewing has been out. He's been charged with statutory rape, and Brian, I don't know if you saw the updated news, but additional charges have been filed after the initial.
Yeah, I've got those. I made a note of those. So yeah, this story seems to be getting worse with each passing day because I've already seen like 3 different stories with updates on this, and it's really kind of bad for pretty much everybody involved. But Justin Brigham, I think. Brigham? Yeah, Brigham. He's a former owner of Charlotte's Sycamore Brewing. He has been arrested and charged with a number of serious offenses, like you said. The most recent reporting includes 3 counts of statutory offenses with a child under 15, 1 count of second-degree exploitation of a minor, 1 count of soliciting a child by computer, and 1 count of assault inflicting serious bodily injury, which I think was on an adult that found him in the process. And I'm kind of leaving a few words out of these charges to kind of keep this as family friendly as possible. One of them includes the R word, which you mentioned earlier. There's, anyway, we won't get into that, but it's very serious. It's very bad stuff. Reportedly, he was arrested in his birthday suit, not wearing a stitch of clothing, in a car after the parents of a 13-year-old found him in their daughter's bedroom. Brigham's probably now ex-wife and co-owner of the brewery released a statement calling Brigham's alleged actions despicable and unforgivable, stating that they are heartbroken for the victim and the community. She also confirmed that Brigham is no longer an owner or any kind of a manager of Sycamore, and that the brewery will not be assisting in any way with Brigham's legal defense. It is worth noting that all statements that have been released about that from Sarah, the new sole owner of the brewery, has been signed by her with her maiden name Taylor, not Brigham. So previously on the brewery's About Us page, she was identified as Sarah Brigham. And the point here being that the brewery isn't the only thing that Justin Brigham will not be involved in the future. He's out all across the board. The future of Sycamore Brewing seems a little unclear at this point. On the one hand, they apparently just opened a new tap room. On the other hand, in reaction to the news, many businesses have allegedly cut ties with the brewery, including very big names like Publix, Wegmans, Lowe's Food, The Fresh Market, Food Lion, and Whole Foods. So that's an ouch for a brewery. That's a lot of beer that's not being sold. So I read this and I'm like, I don't know what to think. I can understand businesses cutting ties with the brewery, but I also feel bad for all the people working at the brewery who had nothing to do with the alleged crimes. I assume they didn't know about it. I'm assuming they didn't participate in them. Like, I guess all that kind of thing would come out in court if it did happen. But that seems like a fair assumption. Those people are getting the shaft on this. They really are. So, it's horrible all around. He's a horrible human being if he did do these alleged things and needs to be fully prosecuted. And I fully get why people would say, nope, no more with them.
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and I understand the retailer's stance on this as well. You know, it's something when you have something this serious, people don't want to support it, and if you do support it, you're guilty along with them. So, I mean, it was I don't know if right is the right word here, but an understandable move from the retailers to break ties with the brewery, which is very unfortunate, assuming, you know, his wife, soon to be ex-wife, or no one else knew about it, but understandable.
Yeah. If there were people recovering from it, it changes entirely.
Changes everything. I get that. Absolutely.
Yeah. This is a really bad situation just all across the board for pretty much everybody involved. So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, Irish Stout seems to be so hot right now. You know, we'd heard news about Guinness doing really well, and we saw an article recently from Murphy's that apparently they're killing it as well.
Yeah, you need to watch out, Guinness. Murphy's is coming to eat your lunch.
Split the M.
What was that? Sorry?
I said you have to split the M.
Oh, split the M. Yeah, that's a... Do they have... I have to think about what the pint glasses look like. Anyway... Heineken, who is the owner of Murphy's Irish Stout, reports that the beer has seen a massive surge in popularity, with sales up 666% over the past year. That's crazy. Horns out for that 666 there. The number of pubs that have put Murphy's on tap has increased by 480% in the UK over the past year. This is said to be driven by Murphy's, quote, crowd-pleasing, unquote, flavor profile. They claim it is less bitter than traditional stouts, and that seems to be winning people over. To capitalize on this momentum and to support the struggling pubs that have had some issues with, I think taxes went up on their beer. I remember seeing some stuff about that. Heineken UK is freezing the price of Murphy's for 2026. They're also hand-delivering free kegs to London pubs that have run out of Guinness using the slogan, "Good things come to those who are waiting." They're also using the slogan, "Good things come to those who switch," for people who switch over to Murphy's. Both of those sayings are plays on Guinness's famous wait campaign, which is "Good things come to those who wait." So I just hope this means we'll be seeing Murphy's around these parts more often. I think occasionally I see it around, but not very often. I like Murphy's. I like Guinness, but I like Murphy's too. So I like having both around. But this is kind of fun.
Didn't we do a blind tasting of Irish Stouts one year? And I think Guinness did win, didn't it? Or the house was divided?
I think the house was divided. Yeah. And I think that we did Guinness, we did Murphy's, and we did Beamish. And I'm trying to remember how that broke out. I don't remember. I think Murphy's or Beamish, one of the two, actually came out ahead for some people, and Guinness came out ahead for others. So it really depends on what you're looking for in your stouts. But there's a difference. There is a difference. I could see why somebody would taste both and have an obvious preference between them.
I wonder how, talk about people running out here and going to Murphy's. It just reminded me of the Bud Light fallout. I guess that's been 2 or 3 years now.
About 2 years.
I wonder if that has been a permanent impact to Bud Light, or if there's people that have slowly migrated back over to them.
I think the indications have been that that's mostly permanent. Like the people that have made the shift have just stayed, because I think Bud Light went down and they've not been climbing. I think they've continued to slowly decline.
Yeah.
They may have gone, some of them may have gone to Mick Ultra though, which that's really, if that's done in protest, you're doing it wrong, because you're just drinking a different beer from the same company.
Yeah,
so
they don't know.
But you know what? The people that are doing that, I mean,
they feel good that they're standing up for what they're believing in there. That's right.
That's fine. You're getting your beer. You're standing up for what you believe in. You feel good about it. All right. That's fine. And
so be it.
Honestly, that doesn't hurt Budweiser at all. Not even the slightest. But
they're good with it. They're good with it. Brian, related to that, moving right along here, AB InBev, we found out that they're actually going to sell one of their breweries, and they're closing a couple.
Yeah. They're reducing their U.S. brewing footprint. Man, I can't even speak today. From 12 facilities in the U.S. down to 9. They're selling their Newark, New Jersey brewery property to a property developer for industrial use. I forget what they said they were going to do with that, but it's going to be highly profitable. It's condos? I don't know. Anyway, it's also going to shutter its facilities in Merrimack, New Hampshire. I hope I'm saying that city right. and Fairfield, California early next year. Production will be shifted to the remaining 9 modernized facilities, and the article did say that they spent a lot of time in modernizing a lot of their facilities. So I think this is streamlining, but the good news is that all 475 full-time employees across the 3 sites are being offered relocation assistance to other Anheuser-Busch facilities or severance packages, whichever they prefer. Despite what it looks like, Anheuser-Busch currently is outperforming the overall beer category in both dollar sales and volume. And the company says that the wholesaler network will not see any kind of significant changes or increased freight costs due to the consolidation. So your Bud Lights and your Mich Ultras aren't going to get harder to find or more expensive, at least not as a result of these closures. Now, I don't know, tariffs and inflation and other stuff, that might rise the price of it. But these getting shut down seems like they're just going for an efficiency move here is what they're doing. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Save some money, less operation there. It kind of stinks though for the people, even in the best outcome, I guess, if they've got to close a location is offering the relocation or the severance. But that still means that people are going to either have to uproot their families and move or find a new job, one way or the other there.
That's right. That's nearly 500 people. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
It is. That's accurate. The math checks out on that.
I wonder what percentage of these people get up and move. I'm like, because I don't know with some of these, they might be just young guys, slinging kegs around and they're like,
sure.
Maybe they'll move, maybe they won't. I guess it depends on what they feel like about where they live. So, yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, Brian, before we move on, how about we give a shout out to our good friends at Truck and Tap?
Sounds like a great idea. So you could not pick a better time of the year to drop by your local festively decorated Truck and Tap. You can enjoy all the colorful decorations and holiday spirit while sipping on the beverage of your choice. You've got a lot of options: beer, wine, liquor, seasonal cocktails like the Grinchy Marg, which is very, very green, or a house-made Coquito. Coquito's really good. And on top of that, you can get a little shopping done by picking up a Truck and Tap gift card for the craft beer lover in your life. And if you do, you can even get some bonus bucks for yourself, which you can then use to buy yourself another beer, because I know you were just drinking beer. But speaking of beer, let's talk about my Truck and Tap beer picks for the week. Here they are. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Piedmont's The Bulldog. It's an ESB, and I love seeing an ESB on tap, so I have to drink that. I have to support that. I don't think I've had this one before, but the word is it's a malt-forward beer that has a nice balance of earthy and floral hops with notes of raisins and toffee, which that sounds really nice to me. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Brownie Booze Cruise from Six Bridges, picking that partly because the name amuses me for some reason, and also because the idea behind the beer also amuses me. The natural chocolatey flavors of the malt weren't enough for the brewers of this beer, so they dumped copious amounts of brownie mix and cocoa nibs into the beer. It kind of reminds me of...
That's a 2014 move there, it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like exactly right. A burnt hickory move right there.
All right.
But they didn't resort to adding lactose, which is another 2014 move. I don't think that lactose was as big a thing back then. Maybe I'm wrong, but... So we're talking about a pastry stout under 10% with no lactose. I think this has to be tasted to be believed. But yeah, this feels like a throwback to 2014. I like that idea. At Truck and Tap Alpharetta, my pick is Old Speckled Hen on Nitro. I haven't had an Old Speckled Hen in years, and I used to love it. I really hope I have a chance to get up there before it runs out. But Old Speckled Hen is an English pale bitter that's incredibly drinkable and not very bitter, despite the name of the style. The choice of Nitro is a smart one. It's intended to get you closer to that cask-like experience with this beer, and that's where it's really going to shine. I'm really excited about this one. I hope people get out there, they enjoy it, drink it, enjoy it, and encourage Truck and Tap to get more of this on. And I hope I get to try it. And if you go out there and drink it, let me know what you think about it. So really excited about that. Hope I get out there. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Boulevard's Bourbon Barrel Quad. This Abbey-style quadruple is made by aging beer in bourbon barrels for up to 3 years and then adding cherries to replace the notorious angel share that is lost during barrel aging. It's a great beer, and you don't want to miss it. This is just always fun to drink. Perfect time of the year for it. And there you have my beer picks for the week. As always, if you'd like to see the full tap list before stopping by, take a look at truckandtap.com. The taps change quickly. You never know what new beer is going to go on, and if you want to see what the food trucks are serving and what events are happening, your trivia, your karaoke, your special seasonal cocktails, that sort of thing, you can find that at truckandtap.com. Everything you need to know can be found at truckandtap.com. I think you can even buy gift cards there. So check it out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Perfect stocking stuffers.
Yes, perfect.
That was tougher to say than I thought it should be, Brian. But
and you're not even drinking, so what's going on over
there? The water's quite strong, very strong water that I've got over here.
A lot of liquid in that water.
That's right, very, very wet. Brian, we have some news from the Brewers Association. They do share with us at the end of each year, but this is the Year in Beer 2025 recapping info, growth or lack thereof, and everything. So, what do they have to say about 2025's year?
Yeah. So with all of the bad news we see throughout the year, I'm a little surprised by some of this. So let me get into it. The Brewers Association reports that craft beer continued to contract in 2025. Craft beer volume is estimated to be down 5% or a little bit more for 2025, a steeper decline than 4% of the previous year. I gotta say, with all the bad news I heard, 5% doesn't sound like that big of a deal to me, but it is 5%, So as for the second year in a row, more breweries closed, 434, than opened, 268. However, the closure rate of 4.4% remains lower than other hospitality sectors, so we've got that going for us. And I want to repeat that 268 breweries opened in the past year, so people are still opening breweries in spite of everything they've heard and read. But the number of craft breweries in the U.S. in 2025 totaled 9,778. So despite the headwinds, the industry remains a powerhouse, supporting 443,000 jobs and contributing $72.5 billion to the U.S. economy. To survive, breweries, as we're seeing, are diversifying into third spaces. They're adding food. They're adding non-beer beverages, your cider, your spirits, your RTDs, and targeting like community events and various programming for the community. We're also seeing big growth concentrated in the non-alcoholic and the low alcoholic categories under 4%. It seems like every day another brewery is announcing a new non-alcoholic beer offering, and I've seen a couple like notable ones just this week. So as for the future, specifically in the coming year, the challenges like inflation and tariffs they're gonna persist for a while. I have no idea how long that's gonna last, but declining interest rates and consumer desire for more socializing, which is kind of cool to see, provides cautious optimism for the year ahead. So people are actually planning. They were surveyed in the coming year to get out more than they have been. So
good for them.
People want to go out and do things. So that's good. That's good for beer.
It is good. It is good. Yeah. 5%, and I did see articles said 5+. So maybe a little bit more than that, but still, for the doom and gloom that it seems like we see, and Brian, that may be because we're out there trolling the news all the time, so we see every bit of it that happens out there. But I would have expected more than that, and down, let's see, 434 and 268. What's that? 176 down. You look nationwide, that's like 3.5 ish per state. Not massive, not great. You don't want to see any good breweries close, but we're seeing some, Brian, that are growing. Just using our state as an example. Monday Night Brewing, which is one of the breweries Brian mentioned that just announced a non-alcoholic beer. So they've got an NA offering coming out. But not long ago, they opened up, I guess, new location, kind of expanded from where an old location was, but they opened a location they call the Grove. It's huge. It's absolutely huge there. So, and the last time we were down there, it was packed. I mean, you couldn't find a seat in this new massive place that they've got there. So, but it is something they've got a big outdoor, very, very big screen TV. We were down there during a football game. It was absolutely packed. And
Oktoberfest.
Yeah. That's right. It was Oktoberfest. So, that may have skewed numbers a little bit, but I've heard from a lot of people that it's fairly packed on the weekends. And, we've gone to other breweries. So where some are hurting, there's some that are still cranking it there, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think where they're killing it is definitely it's the destination. They've got the outdoor seating now. It's not as nice now, but it was better weather then. The outdoor television, the seating. Dad can watch the game and the kids can run around. There's enough room for that. There's food for everybody else to eat. So you you can hang out for a few hours, have a few beers, and everybody has a good time. So that's that whole third space or whatever thing that they're going for. And that's working. Places that do that are doing well for the most part, provided the beer is good and the atmosphere is good. Now, I included, there's a very interesting chart here. We're talking about, so yeah, it's down 5%. If you look at the graph, like every 5 years, in terms of the number of open breweries from 2015 to 2025, it's double. Like, we're double that, even with dropping like under a total of 200-ish breweries that closed. Still twice the number that were here like 10 years ago. Twice.
Well, we've talked to people before that said, this isn't a bubble burst. It's just a market correction, and you see all this closure there. I mean, like when we really break it down, Brian, if you look nationwide over the course of the year, it sucks to see that kind of number of breweries closing. 434, that's substantial, there, but the net, we also had another, we had the 268 opening. So there's still breweries opening out there. And I forget who said this, but pretty simply put it, there's always room for good beer, So if you're making good stuff, now there's more to it than just making good beer to stay alive and survive out there. But if you can get that and, make it approachable, people get in there. But there's always room for good stuff out there still.
Absolutely.
We'll drink it up there for sure. Well, Brian, tariff issues. It's been fun, and we talked about this a few times over the course of the year and how Canada, many provinces said they weren't going to sell any American beer or American alcohol. And it does seem like Canada's got stuck with a lot of U.S. alcohol.
I've been wondering what was going to happen because they very abruptly took American alcohol off the shelf. But, so in response to the U.S. tariffs, like you said, they just took everything off the shelf in a lot of these provinces. And the result is there are Canadian warehouses that are overflowing with unsold U.S. alcohol. Most Canadian provinces operate state liquor monopolies, which means millions of dollars of inventory originally purchased with taxpayer money. It turns out, I guess that makes sense. It is state run. It's now sitting idle, sitting in these warehouses. Ontario alone is reportedly holding 80 million Canadian dollars worth of product, which is about $4.50 US cents. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Canada. We love you. 2 million of that inventory is about to expire soon. So them just sitting on it, it's depreciating quickly. So this is not product that's going up in value. It comes as no surprise that the Distilled Spirits Council of the U.S. reports that exports to Canada have plummeted by 85% since spring. Alberta and Saskatchewan provinces are the only ones still selling U.S. alcohol, as they are not run by state monopolies. There's no real news to report on the tariff front. Diplomatic talks were recently aborted because Ontario ran an anti-tariff advertisements on U.S. television right ahead of some talks, and those talks got canceled. So that might not have been the best move if they wanted to negotiate something, but if you wanted to stick your thumb in somebody's eye, that was the right move to make. But I have to wonder why the provinces that aren't selling the U.S. alcohol don't just sell it to the provinces who are at like a wholesale price. They get their money back or some portion of their money back. That it's the taxpayers' money, so they can use it on something else. And the ones that are going to sell it anyway, just sell it anyway. And they're, instead of like putting money into the U.S. economy directly, indirectly, they're buying stuff that's already been paid for, so they can jab at the U.S. in that way. I'm like, that would be the smart move here for them, but that, I guess there's reasons they don't do that. I don't know why. Yeah, we've seen. I mean, people don't always make the most rational decisions when things like this come, and it would be something. If I was in the same position, I could see, well, I'm not buying American alcohol, but you say. Since a lot of them are state monopolies, it was government, their tax dollars that bought this alcohol. Let's get our tax money back. Yes.
Let's take care of this rather than let it set in the warehouse and spoil. But taking their political stance there, Brian. Yes, they got to do it. They got to stop buying Bud Light.
That's right. I mean, seriously, that's money you can put in your schools or whatever other programs, or just buy the next round of beverages that you're going to sell. Whatever. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense to keep it there. Like, it's just going to get worse. It's going to get damaged. You're going to lose a lot of it. It's highly wasteful. But again, government is typically highly wasteful.
Yeah, so, they don't make a lot of sense there. Well, Brian, we got a feel-good story here, and we don't get a lot of feel-good stories, but this is a beautiful story of a trashed panda. You may have heard of Trash Panda, but he has become legend. And if you haven't heard the legend, Brian's going to tell us all about it.
Yes, the rampage of the Trash Panda. So on Saturday after Thanksgiving, an officer in Ashland, Virginia, found a raccoon passed out on the bathroom floor of a state-run liquor store. The raccoon entered the building, apparently, through the ceiling and knocked out the security cameras in the process because, man, this guy's smooth. At some point, Rocky, the name they've given him, Rocky the raccoon, smashed multiple bottles of bourbon and moonshine, and then he drank them until he passed out next to a toilet. Man, what a legend. But the story gets better. It was later revealed that this isn't Rocky's first offense. He's had previous break-ins at a local DMV and at a karate studio in the same block. So this raccoon probably has a black belt and a driver's license. So you need to watch out. This is the coolest raccoon ever. So capitalizing on this legendary raccoon debauchery, Hanover County Animal Protection launched a Trashed Panda merchandise line featuring a drawing of the sprawled out, passed out raccoon. As of the last time I checked, the campaign had raised $250,000. And those funds will go towards animal care, officer training, and possibly a new animal shelter. That's a lot of money for this. And there's a happy ending. After sobering up at the shelter, Rocky the raccoon was released back into the wild with no injuries other than just a heck of a hangover. He was really hungover. And I got to say that I may or may not have a Trashed Panda shirt heading my way as we speak. So I do.
I actually do. Brian.
Yeah, I bought one.
I will. I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good for him. Good for him. It sounds like he had a good time. He had to spend the night in the drunk tank and then got to head back out.
It's a good thing he hadn't passed out because that raccoon's got a black belt. He might have been able to take that cop on and put him down. I mean, it could have gotten dangerous.
Stole the car.
Because he could drive. He would he would have roundhouse kicked the cop out and then taken his vehicle and gone for a joyride. So it's a good thing he was passed out. Yeah. Could have gotten a lot worse. Is there
really anything that a drunk raccoon can't do?
I have not heard it. If there is, I'm pretty sure they could do just about anything.
Yeah. They're immortal. Way to go, Rocky.
Rock Brian, on, Rocky.
AI is such a hot topic. We're seeing it everywhere now. And we've seen it in just about everywhere. Beer. It's, of course, been talked about in beer. In our fragrance cologne collecting, there's AI places, formulating with AI fragrance profiles now. So it's everywhere. But Kieran, some news on them that they have a proprietary AI, apparently, that they're using for beer development.
Yeah, they are officially integrating AI into the heart of their brewing process. And honestly, a lot of companies are officially integrating AI into things, despite the fact that it hallucinates, as we've talked about before. But anyway, this signals a major shift in how the world's largest beverage companies are approaching their flavor development. They're not the only ones doing this. I think another Japanese company I won't talk about because of what they did to Anchor, they also are on board with this. But yeah, Kirin Holdings will begin releasing beers developed by their proprietary AI system starting in March of 2026. The AI analyzes 2 decades of data, including chemical ingredient profiles and consumer taste surveys, to identify the exact compounds needed for specific richness and bitterness levels. That's what they specifically pointed out. Richness and bitterness is what they're looking at. It was also designed to solve technical brewing issues such as excessive bitterness by suggesting instantly ingredient adjustments that might have taken brewers months to figure out through trial and error. In blind taste, they're saying that consumers consistently rated the AI-enhanced beer versions higher than those developed through traditional methods alone. But Kieran emphasizes that AI is just a support tool. It's not a replacement. Not yet. Anyway, human brewers will still make the final decisions on brand direction and the soul of the product until AI gets a soul. Anyway, what do you think about this, Tim? You think this is this the beginning of the end for brewers, Tim? Will they all be robots?
No. So I don't know, man. So here's the thing. I feel like, we've seen technology. We're both not young, Brian. I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm old now, but we've been around a while. So we've seen things like, we actually have seen the phones, that cords disappear from phones, altogether.
That was wild.
It was wild. So stuff like that, cassette tapes and all of this. So, there's been these changes, and really, I'm old enough to remember when computers weren't a part of daily life, so getting them in the workforce. I was a junior in high school before we ever got computers in our schools there. And the same talks were had then, Brian, that, the computers, man, that's going to take away these jobs, and it shifts things. I was chatting with someone last night and they mentioned like bookkeeping. When Excel came out and tools like that, I think we had Lotus 1, 2, 3 at one time in that had put a lot of people who did bookkeeping with literally books and pens, you didn't need as many because you could do so much more with the spreadsheets. But it just kind of shifted the jobs there, So we'll see another shift. There may be things here that can't be done. The thing is will it go too far? I just suggest whatever you do for your job, learn how to harness AI to make you better at what you can do. Because really, right now, AI, a big thing about it is it's really about the prompts. It's more about the way the prompts are crafted for AI than what the AI does. You have to tell it what you want, and the more specific you are and the better you are at crafting the prompts, the better those results are going to be. So
when they came out with Google and like search engines, did you ever think that the study prompt engineering would be a thing, like how you search would become quasi like a specialty?
Sure. Yeah. No, never would have thought that. That was always just something you kind of did. But yeah, prompt engineering. But prompt engineering is a thing now for sure. Yeah. But talking about that, the phone book industry. The yellow pages used to be a big thing that everybody had. You get it dropped off, you look forward to it, and all that. We have absolutely no need for that anymore. Paper maps for the most part. They still exist, but that's another industry that was shifted. Encyclopedias. We've seen it a lot, man. We've seen it a lot.
I was just thinking about it as a guy who writes code, that so many different times in my career have I seen new technologies that we're going to eliminate, the need for a programmer. A lot of the previous ones were drag and drop things like WYSIWYG, drag and drop. Oh, just drag these things down and click on these properties. You can make your own application. Yeah, that happened. But the reality is those tools can only take you so far. And it turns out a lot of those tools generate garbage code underneath. And AI still generates a lot of garbage code. Like, it'll get the job done. It's not what you want. If you need to support that thing going forward and you need human beings to do that, because eventually it's always going to be human beings that fix the broken stuff. Well, for now, I guess. Yeah, you need to do it right. So somebody always has to review it, and eventually a person always has to tweak it. So these absolutely are force multipliers. Like they allow you to get tremendous amounts of work done very quickly. The same way Excel made people able to get tremendous amount of work done when they were just using like typewriters and paper. Just paper, the amount of work you can get
ledgers.
Done. Yeah. But the expectations from the businesses are, okay, great. The new normal is you getting 80 times the work you used to be able to do done every day. Now we've built that into our process, and going forward, we're just assuming you do that every day. And so nothing changes. It's just like, you get more work done, but that's just your new day,
It's your new day, man. Absolutely. Yeah. In my career, when I started as a recruiter, we weren't actually using paper resumes anymore. We did have them on computers and that, but it was a recent enough transition that we still had a room filled with filing cabinets with the paper resumes in there. We still needed that. And it was still very common for us to get resumes faxed to us. And, we would try and scan them in OCR. Them in OCR was terrible. So it would make an absolute mess out of it. You know what? There's probably people now that it's just such a commonplace thing to get electronically, may not even know the term OCR, but it's optical character recognition. You'd scan a document and it would recognize it and turn it into an editable, like a Word document or something. And it was trash. I don't know that it ever got good before we moved to, just all digital there. So, and all of this stuff, Brian, has been, massive changes that changed the way we work, but it's just meant, you could do more. I didn't have to spend time cleaning up a crappy OCR'd resume, it was done.
True.
So it was pretty good. Interesting stuff, man. We'll have to see how it goes. Gen Z, Brian.
Oh,
Gen
yes,
Z.
my favorite topic.
We love talking about Gen Z, and we always get told, we've been told so many times how Gen Z doesn't like carbonation, and Gen Z isn't drinking alcohol, and Gen Z is just giving up drinking. And the latest data suggests that maybe Gen Z is just giving up on giving up.
Yeah, this is great. So recent IWSR data suggests that there is a major shift in how Gen Z is approaching alcohol. They're moving away from abstinence and towards a more cautious drinking habit. The data also shows that participating in dry January and sober October has dropped significantly for Gen Z, at least in the UK and Australia. I assume a little bit probably here in the US, but they didn't specifically mention that. Additionally, the gap between Gen Z drinking rates and the general population drinking rates has shrunk to just 3% from 9% in 2023. And I feel like I got to say that half of Gen Z is still underage. So these numbers, but, I don't want to come to the defense. I don't want to white knight Gen Z, but I feel like I have to a little bit here. But now 74% of Gen Z are reporting drinking alcohol, which is a significant raise from 66% 2 years ago. So maybe a lot more of them are actually of age at this point in time. Or, you know what? They're reporting it. That doesn't necessarily mean they're of age. So either way. So interestingly, while Gen Z is drinking more, millennials, the industry's biggest spenders, are actually drinking less. Millennials are also consuming fewer types of alcohol per occasion than they were previously. So they are not mixing their beverages. I think they're getting older. They realize those hangovers are horrible. But
tougher. Yeah.
They're also abandoning bars and restaurants in favor of drinking at home. Again, they're getting older and they've got kids and expenses. But millennial visits to pubs and clubs have dropped from 41% to 36%, driven by concerns about affordability. So things are getting expensive. And if you've got young kids at home that have a lot of needs for school and other things, it kind of cuts into your fun budget. So, but we may also be seeing a consumer shift away from the performative abstinence campaigns like Dry January in favor of just drinking less all year long. A more practical approach to it. It's like, you know what? Don't just give up alcohol, all out. Don't go for a month and then just go back to drinking heavily. Just taper it back throughout the year, and that's probably going to actually serve you better than quitting for a month. So, but I think that's where we're going. I actually think that these things were really hot for a minute, and little virtue signaling, and we're going to go back to people like figuring out, hey, do I need to drink less, or where do I need to be just all year long, and not just these arbitrary times on the calendar.
Good old moderation, Brian.
Yeah,
that's been preached for a long time. That good old moderation will take care of you.
I've been ignoring that the entire time.
Yeah,
yes, I've heard.
You don't even play with the dry January or sober October stuff. It's like, look, I'm not going to clown. I know what I'm going to do in February, so there's no point in faking in January.
I'm not even pretending. I'm like,
right. No point in this. No point.
I've got a lot of Christmas beers left over in January that have to be consumed. Like, they're not probably going to go bad, but I mean, I need to make room for the beers I want to buy in February too.
In February, sure. Yeah. Out with the old, in with the new, Brian.
Correct. It's all about
you got to do it.
The beer flow, keeping the beer flow clean, no backups. Yeah.
What's the Jack Kanban? Isn't that Yeah.
I maintain one for my beer drinking. I'm like, let's move one into the we've got it all. Yeah, move it up to
on demand.
Preparing to drink, refrigerating, drinking. Now recycling the bottle or the can, and then just keep it moving.
Don't need that excess inventory, man. On demand.
Maximum
Make sure
efficiency.
We got it covered there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, y'all, it is coming up on the holidays. We are not going to be here next week. Just to let you know, next week's the Christmas holiday. We're going to take off. We're going to let y'all enjoy time with your families. We're going to do the same thing with our families and friends. But, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will be back for a year-end show. though, before we roll out of 2025. So just a heads up for you there. But thank you so much for hanging out with us. We always appreciate that. If you enjoy what we're doing here, as always, we'd appreciate it if you would tell a friend to listen to the show, subscribe, check it out. If you really dig what we're doing, then please do consider supporting us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/beerguys. We'll get you some cool swag. We'll get you into the Discord where we chat about just all kinds of crazy stuff. But with all that said, we hope that you have a really, really good week. And don't forget to drink local. Cheers.